Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Let's not waste any time. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Look at this right now. We're back under 4 trillion by a lot. It's $3.88 trillion market cap for crypto. It's off 2.4%. Look at these numbers. Everything bleeding heavily right now. 112,700 plus for Bitcoin, 4,100 plus for Ethereum. XRP is $2.84, and I just bought it at $2.85. Yes, I did. Yeah, that's why I'm happy. It's off 5.2% in the 24-hour and 13.2 on the 7-day. I just picked up a blue light special in aisle X. That's what I did, not financial advice. If you're scared, say you're scared. I ain't got time for it. I know what's going on. August recess right now for Congress. When they come back, they're going to push all the markets back up through the roof is the way I see it. 284 on the bottom, 301 on the top. Let's see what's going on here. I'll tell you what's going on. It's iTrustCapital's brand new premium custody account. Institutional custody, you get it. Award-winning U.S.-based support, you get it. Low cost, you get it. 1% flat trading fee, no monthly fee. But there's a catch, because it's not designed for everybody, and that's done intentionally. And you need to understand that, because that's what this account, this premium custody account is. For one, really quickly, if you haven't checked out iTrustCapital's IRA, crypto, gold, and silver IRAs, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you have the most powerful move that you could make for yourself and your family and the next chapter of your life by moving your 401k into there. Not financial advice, but I feel very strongly about that. I've been with them 6 years on that side of the fence. But this new premium custody account really offers some special things. And let me tell you what it is. This closed loop system allows you to go in with your cash and crypto. You could trade all the assets on the platform all day long, 24/7. You know the deal. You get the free institutional grade custody to 1% fee. But when you come out, you don't have a choice. You have to come out as cash that goes directly to only your checking account. And the reason that they're doing that is very specific. So look, if you're a day trader and you're doing all kinds of trading every day and you need to be all this way and the other, this isn't for you. This is specifically designed from the people at iTrust for people that want to hold their crypto and know that it's safe. They don't do a bunch of moving assets around, right? They're just waiting for that cash out moment and things of that nature. So if you're like me and I know there's a lot of you out here, iTrustCapital is going really out of their way to create an account that kind of helps protect us from ourselves. If you click on if you click on a link on your email or your text thread, and then next thing you know, you're hacked, the worst thing that could happen is the money's cashed out and it goes to your checking account, right? So this is why this is created this way. And I think it really speaks volumes about the people at iTrust, if we're just being honest here. They're really going out of their way to try to see what they can do to help save us from ourselves. So let them help you. iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army. Click the link at the top of any video, right under the description. Click that very first link and get started today. You're going to love the peace of mind it brings you, no doubt about it. Well, look at this right here. MicroStrategy's entire business model in one chart, a reflexive loop that only works if Bitcoin keeps rising, says Jacob King. He says, when this Ponzi loop inevitably implodes, it'll make FTX, Enron, and Madoff look like ants. Oh, let's hope not. Oh boy. Now remember, that, people are saying these things. The market is down, and that puts the position of the MicroStrategy shareholders in an upside down spot, right? Certainly not the favorable spot they thought they were going to be in. So one, they issue debt or equity. MicroStrategy issues debt or equity to buy Bitcoin. And then two, they buy that Bitcoin. They buy the Bitcoin pushing Bitcoin's price higher. And three, MicroStrategy market cap increases because Bitcoin rises and inflates to MicroStrategy's market cap. attract retail investors. The market cap increase in tracks in index funds and sheep investors. And 5, issue more equity. MicroStrategy issues more equity to buy even more Bitcoin. Reflexive loop, the cycle repeats until it breaks. What they don't tell you here is as they issue more equity, it brings down the value of your own if you're not careful. And that's where the up and down in price and the volatility in the markets come into play. Now, I think the question here is, will Congress coming back in session and passing legislation be enough to turn MicroStrategy around? As Greg Kidd said, Michael Saylor is playing the same musical chair game as the Fed. So if that makes you comfortable, that's what's going on here. And don't say you didn't know. And in the interim, Kathy Wood in ARC 21 shares sells $64.4 million worth of Bitcoin, and BlackRock sells $68.7 million worth of Bitcoin, taking some profits during the slump. That's not usually what Wall Street does. So what gives, right? The demand is slumping at the moment. Bill Morgan rightfully asked a question to Mac Kaiser here. He says, Bitcoin fixes this, right? See, what I have said is simply this. You know, look, I want Bitcoin people to win. I want them to make $1 gazillion and the rest of it. I really do. That's the facts. I have exposure to Bitcoin. So at the end of the day, you know, what it comes down to, I believe, is what I have said. If they don't get the Bitcoin in a strategic reserve and corporate treasuries in mass, municipalities, and so on, this is going to be a bad news story. But I think that they will, and the reason that I think that they will is because the administration has been outspoken about the fact that they're going to. J.D. Vance did go to Bitcoin Vegas, right? And speak very, very clearly about how he feels about Bitcoin. So we're going to have to see how this goes, but there's a window here, and we just need to see how Congress is going to react when they get back when it comes specifically to crypto and Bitcoin. So, and then Gemini has this to say, the next era of rewards is preparing to launch, highlighting the capital letter X in next, the R in rewards, and the P in preparing, giving everyone the sign that it equals XRP. Now, what will those rewards be? I don't know, but I tell you what, I'm eager to find out. I could tell you that. Let's hear more. It should be more coming. And we know Gemini just recently did a joint a loan agreement, right, for a credit facility for borrowing was $175 million, and RLUSD absolutely involved. Jack McDonald here says RLUSD on the XRP ledger is only becoming more integrated in traditional financial rails. He says from its usage as good collateral to cross-border payment settlement, he says, and now for the first time, as IPO proceeds payment. Even before the Genius Act passed, RealUSD was repeatedly recognized across both crypto and TradFi as the gold standard in compliance. And now the floodgates are opening. Watch this space. That's what's going on here. Bullish and Gemini getting advantage of using RealUSD and other stablecoins in that process. Now, every company in finance will be affected. Why? Because Simon McLaughlin's got it right here. $2 trillion of payments settled in stablecoins last year. The industry is on a highway right now, and Uphold is in the fast lane. Now, let me tell you, I'm excited about this because, one, we know Uphold has said they're looking for either an IPO or a merger acquisition. Now, I know that Ripple's going for that banking charter, but I just think that Ripple purchasing Uphold would be phenomenal. I have nothing to base it on other than just me wanting to see that happen, right? And in full disclosure, I do hold Uphold shares, SPVs, and I do hold Ripple SPV. So it would be a really beautiful thing, and I love it. But I don't love it just for that. I love it because I know what Uphold are doing, and I know that in the last couple years, they were really working hard in developing their enterprise to enterprise side, which would give them a more solid flow of income and revenue every day because they'd be making payments. They'd be a market maker instead of just working as a brokerage. You know, so I just think there's really beautiful synergy there. We'll have to see if it works out or not. But that's my hope, right? Well, listen to this conversation. Shout out to Scott Melker, Andrew Parrish, and Tillman Holloway from Arch Public, and listen to what they say on how do you think you could gatekeep that type of project. There's going to be a breakout to the upside that's going to be pretty extraordinary. And listen to what they talk about. It's pretty awesome.
And I think Ripple is on the forefront of that. I mean, look at what they're doing for Gemini's IPO. I think they're giving them a $75 million credit facility. Is that correct? Did you guys see that story?
Yep, that's correct.
Well, Ripple announced this morning, 51 minutes ago, congratulations to Bullish on their successful IPO. And they arranged, Bullish did a partnership with Ripple, evidently, to where they've arranged for $1.15 billion of dollars of the IPO proceeds to be paid to them in Ripple's stablecoin. So, the fact that Ripple's out there doing this should not be surprising. They now have a stablecoin. They're soon to have a banking license, I would assume. They own a large exchange in Hidden Road. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at the fabric that's being woven here and see what it looks like. I mean,
I haven't looked deeply into that, but as you describe it, it seems like Ripple is really skating to where the puck's at with the institutional and government side of crypto. Like they have the money, they have the power, they have the, I guess, regulatory clarity now. And as you said, they can actually utilize their own stable coin to increase usage of it for all these purposes. It's pretty brilliant.
And they can cash their XRP stack in for stable coins. So it's this huge collateralized, 21st century exchange that is now offering IPO services and payment through their stable coin. That's first of its kind. It's like what's going on in Wyoming. No one's ever done that before. It's never happened. So it definitely deserves our attention.
This is what I've talked about liquidity in the crypto markets associated with, equity IPOs, right? So, Bullish and Ripple doing some things. There's liquidity being passed back and forth there. Gemini taking a credit facility from Ripple, liquidity being passed back and forth there. There's new capital that's created literally out of thin air associated with Gemini's IPO that's happening momentarily. That's going to continue to fuel a move higher. And again, that to me, that's the reason why there's going to be a breakout to the upside that's going to be pretty extraordinary in my mind. You just can't continue to create and facilitate sizable amounts of liquidity that just goes nowhere.
It's no different than the ICO, but now we're doing IPOs on crypto exchanges, right? Which is this. Look at how much look at the ICO craze and how much liquidity that pumped into the markets. I mean, that was an incredible sight to see. It was money sloshing all around everywhere, every day. Now you're looking at Ripple doing the exact same type of a structure. And if you think about it, it's genius. If I'm going to launch my IPO, and I'm a big crypto company, Gemini, and I want to partner with somebody that can give me all the collateral that I need, all the loan that I need, the facilities that I need. They actually have the exchange where people can go buy it, both retail, institutional, the whole gamut. It's accessible by all human beings. How do you think you would gatekeep that type of a project? Well, you force people to buy it in your stable coin, right? And then you have more liquidity coming in. It's the exact same recipe that the ICOs did. You had to get in. If you wanted to buy a unique ICO on Binance, what did you have to hold? BNB. You had to hold Binance. Good. Yeah. So it's same. It's just happening now with IPOs, which is insane because there's so much more money in the IPOs, and there's so much more traditional finance that is paying attention to this. But it's being done in a high-speed rail versus an old, steam locomotive. It's insane.
I absolutely love it. I think they got it spot on here. And what you're seeing is that melding of this new emerging technology and digital asset class being brought into traditional finance and things just like IPOs, for instance. You know, you could hear the excitement from these guys, and Scott Melker totally gets it too. There's no question. This is quite remarkable where this is going, and I tell you, it's going to be an eye-opener for a lot of people out here who have had their heads stuck in a speculative world of digital assets that don't yet really realize or grasp where this market is truly going and why it was here to begin with. This market was created to protect the dollar dominance of the world. It was also created so we could tokenize the world and get it off an old, antiquated system. That's where this is going. And the larger part of pie is not crypto. The larger part of pie is tokenizing the rest of traditional finance with crypto. And which ones it'll be is the game at hand. Caroline Weinberg likes this idea of getting all of this set up and 55 trillion in assets under custody at BNY Mellon. And she talks about Ripple having better rails. Take a listen.
So I'm going to ask Carolyn another question, which is, I think, so BNY has just been selected to custody stablecoins. Can you talk a little bit about how that process evolved and, you know, what your experience was in the decision making around, you know, taking that step?
Sure. So for quite a while, we've been enabling stablecoins, Circle and others. The announcement, I think, is Ripple, Open Eden recently as well. What we're really focused on is the enablement and the ecosystem. So how do we actually think about this concept? We said there's treasuries underneath. You need bank accounts, you need payments. So all of these things we do to enable the stablecoin. We sort of inside we call it stablecoin in a box because we actually can enable all these things, and we have lots of partners around that do much of the pieces as well. And together, what's important is that this is about better rails, and I think Nathan said it as well. We really, if there's a pain point, if you will, for a client, how can these rails enable that? So from our perspective at BNY, what we're really focusing on is how do we enable the stable coins to actually save our clients money, to create better, cheaper, faster ways, reduction in capital and these efficiencies. So that's one really important thing for our clients. And the second thing is the role we play in this central position. Our vision is that by being the custodian and the enabler and manager in some cases for the treasuries of these stable coins, we can ultimately, in a future state, interoperate between all of them. And that interoperability, imagine a world where you have treasuries in one stable and treasuries in another, all sitting at BNY. It's a book entry in many ways. The question is, how do you have 24/7 treasuries? Or if you have a cash account and a cash account, enabling between inside BNY for the tokens to move 24/7 and the underlyings to move 24/7, that's what we're focused on. So what we're comfortable with is enabling our clients who are stablecoin issuers, who are settlers of transactions. We have 55 trillion in assets in custody. Imagine if all of those wanted to trade on blockchain within the BNY network or outside. That whole system, if you will, can be enabled through BNY.
There you have it right there. 55 trillion being able to trade 24/7 internally and externally, ladies and gentlemen. That won't be on the old legacy rails. Okay. FYI. Meanwhile, take a listen to this. The founder of Zeconomy, boy, does he tell it. Let's take a listen here because he lays it down here. I want you to hear how many countries Ripple are actually serving along with Zeconomy Help.
Working with Ripple has been amazing because Ripple built the infrastructure in order to be as compliant as possible, build the connections and relationships around the world with 70 different countries where they service the payment, the instant payment and instant settlement. And with their technology, we're able to actually support the ability to do both delivery and payment when it comes to invoices and payment of invoices, etc., which gives us also the ability to do instant reconciliation of those transactions. So no one can dispute that they didn't get paid on time, they didn't get paid in the correct way. Another thing that basically Ripple supported with what we're doing is the ability for, let's say, suppliers to get paid in their own currency versus being dictated to by the large enterprise to pay them only in dollars or euros or Japanese yen for that matter. So we're working with enterprises, so corporations with basically treasuries that have international operations. Their suppliers are not only around the world, but they get paid in different currencies. Usually these treasuries have 300 or more accounts around the world that they need to maintain and have pre-funded in order to manage these operations. Zeconomy solves the problem for these corporate treasuries by having the ability to park their money in a high-yielding instrument such as the commercial paper, the digital commercial paper.
Notice they're showing this example with Guggenheim.
And that money can be actually earning interest throughout its life cycle until there is an instant settlement of a payment to a supplier, let's say, around the world. So what that does, it gives them a higher yielding return on money. And because they don't have now to park money around the world, or not as much money around the world, they can actually use that capital in their own operations or in that high yielding asset. And that asset now can be accessed not only by the treasury in one location, but actually by multiple treasuries across the world to make those payments and to make them instantaneously with instant settlements. So we're working with Ripple both on a technology standpoint and on a business standpoint. From a technology perspective, we basically put the digital commercial paper on the XRPL network. Ripple Treasury is participating in that to make sure that liquidity is always available for the DCP that sits on the XRPL system. We decided to launch on the XRP ledger because XRP has a long history of being able to perform a very specific function, which is the ability to move money around the world instantaneously with 70 different countries that they service. With the idea of being able to use trust lines to make sure that it's whitelisted parties that and KYC'd in order to transact with are available through the system. So it has the infrastructure, the history, and the capabilities that we're looking for businesses to trust doing payments and holding assets on a blockchain.
All right, now let's talk about two things. One, 70 countries. The other one that might get by a lot of people, white labeling for others. Now, we've talked about this. That XRP ledger can be white labeled. They can call it whatever they want and use their own copy of it as a private ledger and then tap into the public ledger. See where I'm going? Right? Just like we know RLUSD could probably be white labeled too. So this to me is nothing but upside. 70 countries, 55 trillion over at BNY Mellon, which is going to house the reserves for RLUSD at the moment. This just keeps getting bigger. Integrating the use of Ripple and RLUSD for IPOs, traditional finance. I think altcoin season, here we come. That's what's going on here. Starting next month or October, says Coin Bureau, Coinbase notes Bitcoin dominance is slipping from 65 to 59, while altcoin market cap soared 50% to 1.4 trillion. So they see altcoin season coming soon, and I say bring it on. Egrad Crypto shows us the linear regression analysis, log scale, and the bent fork, and you can zoom in for it. So look, the way I look at this is here we are. You can see what we've had in history's past, cycle 1, cycle 2, right? And cycle 3. What will we get this time? We don't yet know. However, this is where we are. We're at this moment. And the fundamental news we're waiting for is legislation to be passed and signed into law. And then we're going to experience the internet.com boom, but for digital assets instead. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.